Okay, I'm going to make this video, and it's going to be about, I guess, your pineal gland, or what people are calling the third eye. And I want to emphasize that society has a stereotype about all things. There is a good and a bad correlation to every single thing that we do, from how you dress, what you look like, what you eat, the money you make, every single thing. And if you are the type of person who wants to focus on the bad things about whatever it is that you are going through or what I discuss, then it's not going to work for you. In order for you to have a better life, you have to eliminate fear and limiting beliefs. When I began this journey of mine, my spiritual growth, it was because I wanted to do it God's way for a change. My life was not working. And I set the intention and I dedicated some time to God. I chose God. And I was given gifts. And as I progressed throughout my journey, I had to figure things out on my own because I still wasn't open to receiving divine information from God. And I didn't have the understanding. So I researched on my own. And again, that is something that God requires of you, to seek, to ask, to knock without ceasing. He expects you to do what it is that you have to do. That's when he says, okay, you will receive. He's going to ask you, how much further are you willing to go before I give you a miracle? That's what I did. I researched, and most of my research created tons of fear because I have always been fear-based. No matter what it was in my life, I was afraid. I was afraid of going outside because I was afraid of people being there, me having a good time, crazy things. I was very limited. So every single thing created a fear, but I still was willing to learn. I was still willing to research, and that's what I did. So about 12 years ago, I had a pituitary tumor, and that pituitary gland sits behind the pineal gland, which is where your third eye is, which is behind here in your brain. And I will put a diagram throughout this for you to see. And I think there is a correlation between, well, for myself, my tumor was there because it was obstructing my view. And I had that tumor, and I was blessed enough to only have to take medication and instead of having it removed. But had it progressed and gotten bigger, they would have completed a surgery process and removed it. So I was thankful for that. And I think that, from what I understand, is that there has to be, you have the pineal gland, the perhaps it's the thalamus, and excuse me if I'm not pronouncing these words correctly, and the pituitary gland that works together. And of course, I think your cerebral fluid also has a correlation to this, and I won't make it all too lengthy for you, but when your pituitary gland is decalcified, because mine was corroded, I had a disease in it, it allows better light to come into your pineal gland. If there is an obstruction, you cannot see. So I had a tumor, over 12 years ago, and it recurred again throughout that time. But again, it went away on its own this time. But that's what happened. Eventually, I just understood that I needed to create what I call stillness. I don't meditate. I meditate on God's word. And the true concept of what meditating is, I do on from time to time, when you concentrate on God's word or love, whatever it is, a word, a focus, to alleviate a burden where you're at. So if you are having a struggle in your life, if you are meditating on God's word, which means you are contemplating, you're continuously thinking about something on a continued basis for a certain amount of time to alleviate the sort of pain or discomfort that you are experiencing, or situation, whatever it is. But I create stillness, and that's just the concept of just being. And I closed my eyes, and at first I never noticed anything, but then I began to notice smoke kind of like moving throughout my eyes, and I didn't understand it. And that's when I began doing research, and that research opens the door. It opens the doorway, knocking. When you take an action towards whatever it is in your life, you are knocking down a door. You are seeking answers. And you won't settle for whatever it is that you are doing. And a lot through society, especially, I guess, Christianity, they say that the third eye is evil. And I don't want you to believe that. There is nothing evil about me. There is nothing evil. And I'm not saying people who have an open third eye are not evil. But there's people who don't even use their third eye who are evil people. So think about that. There are good spirits and bad spirits in human form. And it's up to you to decipher who and what is evil. You know your own heart. You know people. And that's what you have to focus on and refrain from any negativity. So when you are able to finally see, and everybody has this, it is the connection to God, to Source, to the universe that allows divine information in. Over this new moon, and I know more is coming, I was given more insight, and I won't go into too much detail on it with this video, but we are always connected with God through a divine light, an invisible cord, if you will, that is always radiating within us. And it also flows to the people we are connected with. That's how there is that divine connection. That is how we are one with God. That's how we can receive from God. And this universe has so much information from the beginning of time that has been trapped here. Not trapped, that just exists because energy always exists. Energy always moves and transforms. So there's information from the beginning of time that is just floating around, and you have access to it. That's why when I began eventually to see things, it began with numbers and symbols from the beginning of time, when man began, using other things for communication. And it's part of our divine existence. And it'll eventually give you information. It'll be flooding you with tons of information that won't make sense, but it's still beautiful. And you will see whatever it is that you resonate with that's based upon your own heart. And it is a beautiful process. And people who tend to have, and this is my theory, based upon my own discoveries and my own life, people who have had tumors, seizures, migraines, anything to do with the brain, that is a lot of information that is trying to come into you right now. It means you have something to do with yourself to open up your mind's eye to receive and to be connected to the source of all information and this universe. So with all of our struggles, there is always a blessing that's trying to come through. So if you have a tumor, if you have seizures, if you have migraines, if you have any other illness in your life, I want you to see it as God's attempt to give you love. His attempt to give you a gift, because that's what it is. Because without ever feeling pain, lacking, destruction, how can you ever have anything else? This is Christy. Much love, health, and healing your way. I am bringing purpose to your life. Take care.